Happy New Year, everybody. Is your New Year's resolution for 2025 to learn to play guitar? Look, I'm here to tell you you can, okay? As a left-handed guy who learned how to play right-handed, if I can do it, anybody can do it. They say that the guitar is the easiest to learn, but the hardest to master. You don't have to master in order to have hours and hours of enjoyment in playing. Playing your favorite song, singing and playing at the same time, writing songs, being a touring musician, okay? So many of my favorite artists are not masters at the craft. You can do this, okay? What has been stopping you? If you want to talk about it, in the link in the description, you can book a 30-minute call and we'll talk about it. I'll walk you through and I'll help give you some motivation and tell you some tips that might help you stick with it this time, okay? But for now, in this video, we're going to get back to basics, okay? But let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about some of the parts of the guitar, what it means, how the strings are tuned, how they're numbered, and what you actually do on the guitar. It's very different from piano. Unless you're finger picking and playing a melody and a bass line at the same time, you're either going to be playing chords to songs, and then there's solo notes, right? And then those closer to mastering, sometimes they can do both at the same time. But it's kind of an either-or instrument. And if you're just learning, everybody starts out with the chords, right? Those are the songs, you know? So let's just get into the basic fundamentals about what fretting means, what certain vocabulary words mean. You know, what are frets, what are strings, what is the first position, how you play a guitar, what simplistic things you can do that are the basis of so many songs that are on the radio and have been on the radio and are out today. Guys, and as always, I'm going to show you from your point of view. Hey guys, so 2025 is going to be the year that you learn to play guitar. You've made that promise to yourself. I'm going to help you keep it, okay? But what does that look like? What does that mean? I've always heard that the guitar was the easiest to learn and the hardest to master. Well, mastering is, I don't know that anyone ever gets Eddie Van Halen maybe, right? You know? But there's a lot you can do before you get to master level that, you know, you'll be completely satisfied with your guitar playing. I am, you know? And I'm nowhere near a master. But I write songs, I finger pick, I can strum, I can sing while I play. You know, I can come up with music. The guitar is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my life, okay? And I want that for you as well. So unlike the piano, you're not going to really be, unless you're finger picking, you're really not going to be doing like the chord, the low stuff, and then a melody line at the same time, okay? It's kind of an either-or proposition, like solos, right, are just as the name implies, it's kind of a solo endeavor. You still need somebody playing rhythm while you're doing that, right? You ever heard a three-piece band live, like a Nirvana or somebody? And when they go to play the solo, it's just the bass and the drums left because the main guitar player, say in Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, he's not playing the chords to the songs anymore because he's playing the solos, right? Jimi Hendrix is another example. This is what, as beginners, we're going to be focusing on. Playing the chords. That's what you sing to. You're not going to be singing and doing that at the same time, right? But what are chords? Chords are just a series of notes within a key, and on the guitar, they present themselves in chord shapes. Like that's a C shape, okay? That's a D major. Really easy to identify. Unlike a piano where, unless you know the notes on the keys, it all looks the same, right? You can kind of identify it with it's an E major, right? So chords are what we're mainly going to be focused on. Now there is a level of skill that it takes to make all these notes ring out, where to place your hands. Your fingers are going to be sore. You're going to get calluses on them. And you need your left and right hand to work in conjunction. Even if you're not finger picking, you need to know, because certain chords, you don't strum certain strings. You don't hit on the C add 9 here. You don't hit that top string. So your right hand needs to know if you're going from a G to a C add 9 to drop down and only strum from there. That's all muscle memory, and it picks up pretty quickly, believe it or not. With a few exercises on simple versions of those chords, that'll happen. So just some basic things about the guitar. You have 6 strings. They go from low to high, and you count them from 6 to 1, 6, 5. So if you hear somebody say the first string, it's not the top, it's the bottom from where you are. 6 strings, 6 tuning pegs. Each string is tuned to its own note. We'll get into that in the next lesson. We're going to talk about how to tune your guitar, okay? And these are tuned with standard tuning in a certain way that these chord shapes make those chords. That's an E major. As long as that guitar is tuned that way, no matter how you slice it, right? The frets are the metal bars. You'll hear people say, you know, fret it here, fret that note here, or fret that chord there. It's actually the metal bars, not the wood, but you place your finger on the wood right behind the fret. So 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, you actually place it on the wood right behind that fret, okay? And these are chord shapes, like we said earlier. This is the fretboard. We've talked about the strings, the tuning pegs, the head. This is the body and the sound hole. We're not going to get into any of this stuff in the back yet, but just so you know. So when you hear people talk about chords, you know that that's a shape that presses down a series of notes and leaves some open to be strummed to make that chord, okay? And the guitar is just as much a rhythm instrument as it is a melodic instrument. So not only are we ringing out notes, our right hand is just as important as our left hand in keeping that rhythm. Okay? Guys, that's just a little bit of the basics. Just in case you were wondering, this is called the first position, 3 frets. Those are called open chords because you're not doing any bar chords, which are a little more in the intermediate side of things, okay? Harder to make, slide them up the neck. We're just worried about the first position. Okay? Guys, I promise you, it's not as hard as it looks. Getting started with just a few fundamentals, and then everything just builds on each other, okay? And it's so much of it becomes muscle memory, okay? Guys, if you need to book a call and talk about some of your fears, or if you need my help in getting started, there will be a link in the description. You can book a 30-minute video call and we'll talk about it. Also, my course is these YouTube videos, very similar, but more in depth. We go slower. There's 50 of them to take you from beginning, what we just talked about, learning the parts of the guitar, and take you a really long way right up to the intermediate level. Okay, guys? We'll see you in the next lesson. We'll talk about how to tune this thing.